Okay, here we are, live again on Monday morning, the 19th of October. Okay, again, I'm not going to get my flute playing in today. I have some lots of here I want to get to. It's important stuff. And as always, we ask that if you can, we would greatly appreciate any type of donation. There's my Cash App. There's my PayPal. If anything I say here means anything to you of value, just make a quick donation. It doesn't have to be a whole lot. A million or two will be just fine. Okay. Thing I want to remember is this. Remember always three things I tell you: intellect, critical thinking, common sense. Those are your keys. That's going to be the key to opening up a lot of doors and blocking a lot of bullshit. Also, I want to remind you that those of you who live in the Atlanta area, my son's store, Tech Genius, there on Ponce, in the Whole Foods area, stop in, check them out. If your computer's acting up, if your phone's acting up, he's the man to see. My son there also, Alabas, he is a professional photographer. He's available for weddings, bar mitzvahs, whatever you want him for. He's the man taking pictures for you. You can contact him on Alabas Frazier or at what's his Instagram? I forget his Instagram, but you can inbox me and I can tell it to you. But he's the one, and you see a lot of his photos there on his Instagram page, and they're really, really good. Also, he is an intuitive, and he can help you out with some guidance if you're looking for that. And my daughter, Aida, she has her Diva Pink site, and she's there to help and as we say, make women feel good about themselves, give them self-confidence, self-assurance, self-esteem, to build them back up again. That's what she's there for. So check them out, Diva Pink, Aida, my son, Shaman, at the Tech Genius, and my other son, Alabas, he's a photographer and intuitive. Now, the thing I wanted to say today, first off, one thing you have to know and learn to do. Learn to start thinking for yourself and stop repeating what everybody else is saying. You're not a fucking parrot, all right? Meaning that you will repeat something that somebody says and then run with it. All the time, I see it through my Instagram, through my Facebook, people repeating stuff and don't bother once to fact check or to see if it's true or if even a bit of truth to it by offering proof. You just type up shit, send it to people and say, this is so-and-so. The one I always get and that it bothers me is that when it says Michelle Obama is a tranny, she's transsexual. Prove it. Don't just print what somebody else says. Don't just come up there and say stuff. Where is your evidence of proof? Where are your facts? Do you know them personally? Have you been with them? Were you there? If you're not, then stop saying that stuff because it makes you look foolish and it tells me that you are not a critical thinker. You are not a critical thinker. You're not an intelligent thinker. You don't even have common sense. You just follow whatever somebody else says and you go with it, whether it's true or it's not true. All right? Now, the thing, too, I want to get into is we're going to talk a little bit today about politics. I'm not really into politics, but I want to clear up a few things and make sure that we're on the same page. Now, what happens is this, is that you see where you have Ice Cube, Ice Tray, Ice Pick, Icebox, whatever his name is, and he's out there saying what he has to say. That's his right to say so. Whether you agree or disagree, it doesn't matter. That man has a right to express his opinion about who he wants to put his vote behind or whatever have you, and that's all well and good. To me, that's nothing more than a distraction. Not unlike the distraction of what's going on with Will and Jada, what's going on with Cardi B, or what's going on with Jay-Z and Kim Kardashian. All that stuff to me is nothing but distractions and bullshit. And let me tell you my opinion. This is my opinion. As far as the election is concerned, in my opinion, just an opinion, everybody's got one, is that it's already been decided. Before you even cast your so-called vote, it has already been decided who's going to win, what's going to happen, and how it's going to take place. Just sit back and watch it unfold, and the aftermath thereafter is what's going to be important that you have to pay attention to. That's what's going to be key to all of what's taking place. It's already been decided. They've already got the game plan in play, and as far as you are concerned, it don't make a bit of difference what you think and what you feel. It's just for the show of letting you say, well, we can do this, we can pick our choice. The choices have already been picked for you. There's one thing too I found out that was interesting this week is that you hear a particular group saying that they are the party of Lincoln. I don't care which party you belong to. Either side, they're both full of shit, so I'm concerned. But they say they're the party of Lincoln, and they're using that to say because Lincoln freed the slaves. That was Lincoln's good thing. But the thing that I found most interesting and curious is that Lincoln was president for 4 years before he decided he wanted to free slaves. Meaning this, excuse me, is that he was reelected to a second term. So for the first 4 years of his term, he did shit. He didn't do anything for the slaves. And what it says here, I got it written down right here to make sure that when I say it right, is that, let me see, where is it? It was on the other page here. Okay, it says that Lincoln only freed the slaves to put a hindrance on the southern industry, meaning that freeing, because there were slaves in the north too. Don't be fooled. They had them there too. But the thing was, he figured that if he can free the ones in the south, that would disrupt the southern economic situation, the political situation, all of that. That's the only reason why he did it. There was no other reason involved with that. He, like I said, for the first 4 years he was president, he ain't do shit about freeing the slaves. Didn't cross his mind until he realized that the North and South were seceding from each other. So he had to do something to disrupt it, and that's what he did. All right? Now, one of the remember this here too, when you deal with politics, as my mother always said, when you lay down with dogs, you get up with fleas. So all those of you who are getting involved in all that stuff, remember, you will get up with the fleas from the dogs you're laying down with on either side. Doesn't matter to me. I really don't care. All right, now, another thing is that when I posted on my page, I said that they are killing you. What do I mean when I say that? This is what I mean, especially the children, because the game plan is that they want to keep you inside. That's the game plan. They keep you on a semi-lockdown until they can get around to maybe a real lockdown to get you used to it. But the fact of the matter is that one thing, especially for us as a people, is that we are children of the sun. The sun is our friend. We need the sun. As a child growing up, one of the worst things that you could have done to me or any child that I know is for punishment, you stay inside all week. Oh man, I got to stay in the house all week. I can't go outside and play with my friends. That was a punishment that every child knew, that they would laugh at you. You can't come outside and make fun of you because you can't come outside. Being outside in the sun is essential. It's important. You're getting your vitamin D. You're activating your melanin. You're taking in all that the sun has to offer. Remember, as you say, that's God's sun. Think about that. God's sun is the sun up in the sky. It's one of the suns we talk about. And that's the sun that gives life to the earth. You follow? Every morning as the sun rises on the whole organism, any type of disease or whatever have you. Remember, going outside as children, we played in the dirt, we fell down, we scraped our knee, we bumped our heads, all those different things which helped us to build up the immune system against different diseases. Growing up, the diseases that were out there, we had whooping cough, scarlet fever, typhoid fever, polio, chickenpox, mumps, measles, diphtheria. We had a whole bunch of diseases out there that we were exposed to, and being exposed to them, our bodies built up a resistance because we were outside running around playing in contact with other children, building up the immune system for the body. That's what you have to do. It's the same thing today. They never tell you work on the immune system. They recognize that this COVID disease attacks the weak. All right, those who don't have their way of building up the immune system, the elderly, even some children are being affected. And you got to remember that it's necessary that you do for yourself. Don't wait for somebody to do something for you. You take action. You make things happen. The power is in your hands. Remember, the doctor is only there to give you what you need after you get sick. But your health is in your hands, not the doctors. The doctors, I'm not knocking doctors or medicine or physicians, but I'm saying they have their place. But you also have to do diligence in maintaining your source of being healthy and being in a state of conditions where whatever diseases come, you are able to defend your body because you have taken the proper steps by way of nutritional health, physical health, mental health to maintain the body that you need in order to stay healthy. All right? Now, another thing is that with this COVID-19 thing, we're going to touch on that for a minute. I know I'm all over the place today, but that's okay, that's me. Is that the drug companies are the ones who are reaping in the money. They are coming out with all kinds of different things. And there's one particular drug that I looked up and has been mentioned. It's called remdesivir. You may have heard it mentioned. Remdesivir. What is remdesivir? Okay, and I'm going to tell you, this is how slick they are with this shit. Remdesivir has been researched by this company called Gilead as far back as, get this, 2009. 2009, as a treatment for viruses ranging from hepatitis C, respiratory virus, and Ebola, and now COVID-19. It has not been approved for that just yet, but if that's what they're working on and that's what they're pushing, then that's what's going to be out there, one of them. Now, it says this here, what this pharmaceutical thing does, it doesn't cure anything, but it shortens the stay in a hospital. If you're in a hospital with the disease, it will shorten the stay in the hospital by 4 days, which allows them to say, well, for a treatment, this is what they're saying. A treatment is $12,000, but because they're able to shorten the time frame, they can bring it down to $3,200 for a treatment, and you have to get a shot every 10 days, for 10 days straight, once every day for 10 days. Think about that kind of money. Now, what they did, to show you how the pharmaceutical companies work, it says the pharmaceutical company isn't dumb. So to make it look as though they're doing something good, Gilead gave 150,000 doses free, listen to that, free to the federal government before charging them through the nose on 500,000 other doses. Now, who does that sound like to you? They come up to you with a drug and say, here, take it free. You can have it, enjoy it. And then when it comes down for the second trip around, oh no, you got to pay me. That's what they do on the street. That's how drug dealers get people hooked. They will give you the crack for free, first couple of shots. Hey, it sounds good, you're doing great. Now you want to come back, well, you're going to pay me, Johnny. You're going to have to pay for this shit now because you're hooked. And that's what it seems like they're doing with this type of thing also. All right. Now, also Pfizer, Johnson & Johnson, GlaxoSmith, and Klein, they are all working on trying to develop a vaccine for this disease. Now, the question that you need to ask is, what are the contents of this vaccine? What are they putting in it? Is it going to be, there's different types of vaccines. You have all natural vaccines with everything in it that nature provides, if you want to use that. Then you have isolates, and then you have synthetics. What's an isolate? An isolate is where they find, let's say, vitamin C. That they see that oranges are loaded with vitamin C. What do? They isolate the vitamin C from the orange and throw away the rest and give that to the people. Then you have synthetics, which are things that are artificially made. Those are artificially made drugs. Those are the ones that they compose a lot of these drugs from, rather than using what nature gave you. Remember, everything that nature gave you is good for the body. Now, the thing we have to realize too is that they're saying that once they find a vaccine and once they can get this disease under control, things will go back to normal. Horse hockey, donkey dust, in other words, bullshit. Things will never go back to what you think or what was once normal any longer. The normal has changed. And it's the same thing that happened back in 9/11 when those airplanes went to the World Trade Center. Things were disrupted then, and they're being disrupted now. All it is now is to make you think that things are going back to normal, and that it's going to be okay after we get through the election and after things settle down. By next year, this time, everything will be going back. More horse hockey, Ducky, ducks, bullshit. What is happening as you are busy being distracted by what's going on with the government, like I said, with the entertainers, the Ice Cube and the Beyonces and all those people, they got you focused on that stuff. Those people, remember this. This is not to disparage anyone, but when was the last time that, Beyonce or Jay-Z or Cardi B or even Ice Cube or any of these people invited you over to the house for dinner? When was the last time Will and Jay said, hey, come on over, let's go hang out? Think about it. These are people that have money. These are people that live in neighborhoods that you never will see. You follow that? They'll just come in, pop up for a minute or two, wave at you, smile at you, whatever, and then as soon as it's over, where are they going? Back to their gated community, where if you even tried to get in, they would lock your ass up. They don't play that there. These people are well guarded, they're protected, and they have money. They don't worry about whether or not they're going to have a job tomorrow or whether or not there's going to be food on their children's table or their grandchildren's table, because they have the money that they can afford that. That's why in that movie I was watching last night, the Soylent Green movie, and that kind of displayed that and depicted that. And I'm going to talk about that a little bit more later on, but Soylent Green movie, very interesting. I had to watch it 3 or 4 times. Same as when I watched the Twilight Zone movie I told you about, The Shelter. I watched that 4 or 5 times because each time I saw it, I saw something different. I heard something different, and it put me in another frame of mind, state of mind. Also, right now, just rather quickly, if you look here on the table, we have, as always, we have our selenite wands that Sandra creates, these beauties right here. And she is really doing a great job. We don't have the skulls to put out here because she's making those fantastic skulls. And we have our Orgonite products that we have here. And what's taking place now with the Oregon, especially the pendants, we're putting those on sale. They are all pendants are now on sale for the $15. $15, no matter which one you see there, any one you like to get is $15. Our pyramids up here, you see this size, these are the medium sizes here. All of these are on sale now, $55 free shipping. Any one that you like, any kind that you like, if you want one made, I can make it. It'll be the same price because Spirit has come and said it's important that people get this Orgonite to protect themselves and their families and their children against what's coming down the pike with the 5G, the EMF, the EMR, the ELF. You need to have your homes and yourselves protected, and these devices, these tools will get the job done. Now, having said that, another thing, as you're busy being distracted or being, caught up in what's going on, the bullshit, what's happening is that the world around you is crumbling. The world around you is falling apart. They're saying that it's going to be, once the things settle, you're going to have the economic recovery. The economy is going to come back stronger than ever. Don't believe it for a second, and I'm going to tell you why. As of now, this month and even coming up, that there are stores that are closing by the thousands and going into bankruptcy. And when I say stores, I'm not talking about little mom and pop store on the corner or a little local grocery store, those small independent ones. I'm talking about businesses that you are familiar with. And I'm going to run it down for you right here, right now. It says here that, and it's going to keep rising, okay? The stores that we're talking about, and these are stores that you know and heard of. Brooks Brothers, 75 stores going bankrupt. Century 21, 13 stores. Chuck E. Cheese, 54 stores. GNC, 1,200 stores. J. Crew, 54 stores. J.C. Penney, 158 stores. Kmart, 52 stores. Lord & Taylor, 38 stores. Payless, 2,000 stores. Family Dollar, 319 stores. Lowe's, 51 stores. In your Victoria, don't tell nobody. Victoria, you know that is Victoria's Secret, 250 stores. Model Sporting Goods, 153 stores. Neiman Marcus, 20 stores. Pier 1 Imports, 936 stores. Pizza Hut, 300 stores. Sears, 72 stores. Steinmart, 250 stores. Tuesday Morning, 230 stores. Macy's, and the list goes on and on and on. I'm going to read them all. But this is what's happening. Now, when these stores are closing, going bankrupt, they are not coming back to a strong economy. They're not going to be coming back like they're trying to tell you, to give you false hope and bullshit lies. And it's happening all over the country. It's happening to California, San Diego, Connecticut, Florida, Georgia, Hawaii, Idaho, Illinois, Indiana, Kansas, Kentucky, Maryland, Massachusetts, Montana, New York, North Carolina, Ohio, Cincinnati, Pennsylvania, Tennessee, Washington, Seattle, and shopping malls are closing all over the place. You're not seeing it now because you're so busy caught up in what they put on the television to distract you, to keep your attention diverted away from what is really going on. This is what's really going on, people. Pay attention. And this stuff is going to come to a head soon. You have to pay attention. That's why we're saying to you, be prepared. Don't sit back and think that, oh, ain't nothing going to happen. My video I put it on Instagram. You can find it on YouTube, Jerry Speaks. It's called What If? What if something were to happen and you weren't ready? You will find that you will reap the benefits of having been prepared, and you will reap the losses by not being prepared. Okay? This is not the time to fall asleep. Another thing, too, we're talking about those toxic hand sanitizers. You've seen them on the news. They've talked about it. You can go and Google and find out which ones are toxic. Here, this is my hand sanitizer. Right here. We make it. Sandra and I, we make this stuff. We don't sell it. We just make it. We say to make it. We use oil of oregano and distilled water. When we go out, we just spray our hands, do that, and perfectly safe. So it's not going to kill anybody. We also talk about our iodine. Important. Get you some iodine. Great for the thyroid. Great for other things. Also, the one thing that says can cure almost everything but death, your black seed and your vitamin C. You have to have these things on hand. And other videos that I've done, I'm dealing with health, and it's on my YouTube channel, Jerry Speaks. You can find it there, and I tell you all the different things, and I go into detail about certain other items that you need to maintain health and build up the immune system. Now, these stores are closing, and they're not coming back. They're telling you they're going to come back, but they're not. What these people are doing, they are taking the money and running. All right? Now, you heard of the situation where they had the, what do you call it? Well, it's not a bailout, but they gave companies money to stay afloat. All right? You heard about they gave $1 trillion out to different companies, corporations. Where did the money go? This is how it works. When they say they're going to give a company, let's say they're going to give a company $25 million to maintain and to stay afloat until the crisis is over, what they do is this. When they give them money, they give it to the board of directors, which is anywhere between 10 and 15 people. And they disseminate how the money is to be distributed to the people. And the first thing that they do is to make sure to maintain their status, they keep the money back that they want for themselves. And then they will distribute it dribs and drabs and throw a few crumbs to some people to make you think that they're doing right by that. This is what they always do when it comes down to large sums of money. When they give it to businesses and corporations, the heads always make sure that they're taken care of. And what are they doing with it? They are taking the money and run. They're going to take the money and run and go to their villa somewhere, maybe in Paris or in the South Sea, something. Wherever they go, they're getting out of Dodge. They're getting out of Dodge. Now, the money they gave you, that's the name of this package, money, came with stipulations. They didn't just give it to them. They said that when you get the money, you have to agree that you can't fire people right away. Wait until a month or two afterwards if you're going to do that, to give the impression that all is well, that people aren't losing their jobs and things aren't going on. That list of stores that it gave you with all those people, all those different stores, those people are being fired. They're not being laid off. They're closing the store for good, and they have no job. And that's what they're supposed to do, is to try to rebound and bring this thing back. It ain't going to happen, Ducky. It's not going to happen. You follow? And it says here that this is how, check this out, billionaires managed to make $637 billion during the coronavirus pandemic. Okay, 40 million Americans filed for unemployment during the pandemic, but the billionaires saw their net worth increase by $500 billion. All right, and this is not the first time that billionaires have seen gains while others dealt with loss. And it tends to tie back to two things. First, the government disproportionately gives money and aid to larger companies and nothing to the small ones. All right, you just take the money and run. And this is the cycle that's happened over and over and over. I'm old enough to remember when they had to bail out the banks. When George Bush was president, they had to give the banks money in order to stay afloat. And what did they do with the money? Kept it to themselves. Here's an estimate says here. During the earthquake in Haiti back in 2010, only 2.5% of the $195 million of relief funds went to the Haitian companies. Let me read. I don't believe you heard me, as the man said. It says, this cycle has happened time and time again. During the earthquake in Haiti in 2010, only 2.5% of $195 million went to the Haitian companies. Where did the rest of it go? Most of the rest was awarded to a DC-based construction companies. And here is another example, after Hurricane Katrina struck New Orleans in 2005, real estate developer Joseph Sanzaro said the clearing out caused by Katrina represented some very big opportunities. Sanzaro was selected as a part of a panel to develop and bring New Orleans back plan, part of which put a stop on reconstruction of low-income neighborhoods until the residents returned. Of course, the residents couldn't return because the homes were destroyed, and many of them were foreclosed on, paving the way for others to buy those properties and develop them at a real cheap rate. And when you go through those areas now, you look how well they're built up, how they're prospering, and the people that live there don't live there any longer. It's no longer their community. All right? Then they say when the stock market bounces back, that's when they're going to really see things. That's when the wealthy are really going to take control and say, yeah, we got it. And that's going to leave, like it says, the rich get richer and the poor get poorer. And you've got to pay attention, open your eye of truth, and recognize that things are going on around you while you're busy, while they try to keep your attention away from these things. They want you to watch basketball, football, baseball, all kinds of things to distract you, to take away your attention, and not allow you to realize that the Titanic is sinking, people. The Titanic is sinking. And it's going to take a while for some to realize it, while others already realize it and are making preparations for when it does go down. And this is what you better do. And as he said, it's better to have and don't need than to need and don't have. If nothing happens, fine, then everything is cool. But what if? What if? Now, you have to remember this too, is that the food industry is in trouble. They're not saying it, but if you're smart enough, and astute enough to observe when you go to the supermarket, you look at certain shelves, and when you go, certain shelves are always bare or very little in stock, and you realize that they are limiting how much you can buy. You can only get 2 of these, 4 of these, 3 of these, whatever it is, they're limiting you. They are rationing out the food. And if you want to know what's going on, take a drive around the back of your local supermarket. I'm talking about the big chains. Something place like Walmart or Kroger or Fry's, one of those places. Drive around the back, all right, where you don't normally go, and see how many of those containers are back there. When I say containers, you know those railroad car big containers where food is. See how many are stocked up back there behind the store. If there's more than 3 or 4 or 5, then something's going on that they ain't telling you. So you better be wise for that. Take notice to that. All right. Now, another thing too is that whenever you have a catastrophe, a hurricane, a flood, a storm of some sort, they always show you on the news how homes are being destructed. You know, the flooding homes are flooded, destroyed, or whatever have you. But they never tell you about the farms that also were destroyed. What do farms mean? Farms mean food. That means the food chain is being disrupted. That means the food chain is not going to flow like it normally does. And that's what's happening now. Just to give you an idea of what's going on around the world, that in northeastern Africa, it's going on for a while, but you don't see it on the news, that they have been hit with a plague of locusts. Now you might say, well, that happens from time to time. No. This plague of locusts is the worst that has been in the last 70 years. The locusts that are there, that's going across the country and other countries in Ethiopia and other parts of the world, these locusts number in the billions, with a B, billions, and they are over 20 miles wide. That means anything green in sight, they are eating. And that has played a big part on the food in these areas. Look at places in India where they had the flood, even in China where the flooding takes place. They never show you the farms or the other places that produce food are being disrupted or being destroyed. They always show you people's homes, which is a disaster. It's not something that you look at and say, you know, oh boy, no big thing. But it all ties into what is taking place. You are not being told the truth. That's why it's called the tell-lie vision. All right? They're only going to tell you what they want you to know and that you choose to believe. Don't believe the hype, as it says here. And if you notice, I told you before, pay attention to China. Now, what I found out is that there are, I think, about maybe 15 or 20,000 Chinese troops in Canada, in the northwestern part of Canada, right above Washington and Seattle, that area there. They have those troops there are training Chinese military troops. Why? There's a conflict with China and Japan about fishing rights in the seas going on over there. There's a problem with China and Taiwan, with America taking Taiwan's side over China. That's being a little disrupted. Right now in India, China, and Russia are having disputes on the border there. There are things and conflicts going on all over the world. There was a video I saw the other day of North Korea, Kim Jong-un, whatever his name is. They were having a 75th anniversary of something that was taking place. And you can find it on YouTube and look at the video. If you look at the video, see everybody there. There were people there by the thousands and not one mask in sight. Okay, I noticed that, not one mask in sight. And they were displaying this new rocket that they have. And when he was making the announcement, he said, well, it's only there for defense. There's no other reason why we have this rocket. He made a big speech on it. And the people there were clapping and cheering and boo-hooing, and he was boo-hooing. Pay attention to world events and stop being so caught up in the local stuff that's going on around there, because these things happening in the world will cause what is known as the ripple effect. The ripple effect is like this. You have a pond that is calm, very serene. You take a stone and toss it in the middle. Where the stone lands is the most impact, and you see the splash and the ripples, and the ripples. And if you stand there long enough at the shore, you wait and you'll see what happens is that you will see the water start to coming up on the shore a little bit at a time. That means that whatever took place in the center had an effect that eventually it got around to coming where you're standing, from where you threw that rock. Okay? Now, the thing is this, is that we are living in a very serious time. And it's a time where it's not meant for you to stay asleep, and it's not meant for you not to pay attention. You have been given signs, you're given warnings, you are shown things, people are telling you things, and they laugh. People laugh at you and say, oh, you're a conspiracy theorist. That ain't going to happen. The government wouldn't do that. This political candidate, he wants the best for us. No, the other one wants the best for us. They're all playing the games with you. You are, it's a thing where I remember as a child, we used to make a joke. We used to say right ball, left ball, who's the prick in the middle? Who's the dick in the middle? That's what they're doing. They're playing the political game with you on both sides. I don't have any affiliation with any of them. And they will use whoever, however, whenever they can. Whether it's your favorite entertainer, your singer, your actor, whatever, they will use these people and display them in the beginning and make you all kinds of promises. And when they get in, what do? They may give you a little sprinkle of something and forget your ass and then go on about their business to maintain their power and their control over the people. You don't mean nothing to them because you are what we say, you are just a pawn. I don't give a damn who you are or how high up on the ladder you are a pawn. And Malcolm warned us about that, about people who they use to sway you to get their attention. And after they get in, they dish you. They get rid of you. Now, one more thing before I keep you in my mouth. Now, the movie I told you about, I posted today about Soylent Green. And the premise of the movie was that they were taking people, I'm just going to tell you, you can watch it, but it's a good movie, where they were taking dead bodies and converting it over to food for people to eat, called Soylent Green. That was what it was. And then in further research, and what I found out that, which is interesting, and good research this too, is that the ancestry of the Queen of England, her people there were cannibals. They were known to eat human flesh. I ain't making this shit up. Research it. The Queen of England's ancestors were cannibals. Google it, research it, and you'll find that to be true. All right? Another thing I want to tell you about is research Agenda 21. Agenda 21. It's been around for a while, but you may not have heard of it, you may not know of it, but do your research on Agenda 21. All right? There's another good programming. I was watching it. It's quite lengthy, but this is something that will open you up, open your eyes to what's going on by way of the internet, by way of the media, social media and stuff. It's called The Great Hack. The Great Hack. And what it goes into, it explains when you go online, we all have done it. We all have done it. You go online and it says, do you agree to the whatever it is that you want to get into? Yes or no. What comes out is that some of those things, when you agree, you are agreeing to allow that particular company to scan what you do. They see everything that you do. And that's why a lot of times when you go online and you research something, it'll pop up in your feed about something. You're just looking at that because you have given them permission to allow them access to your page to let them see what the heck it is that you are doing. That's a video on Netflix. Now, this is one I saw the other day, and I had to watch it about four times, maybe I think it was 5 times. And it was on YouTube, and it's called "The Race War Starts November 3rd." When I saw that title, I said, "What does that mean?" And then when I listened to the video, and I said, whoa, I'm a very open-minded person. I don't just jump on shit, just jump on it. But then I listened to it again and again and again. And not saying that it is, but they gave, same as what I did with my what if scenarios, they gave what ifs. And they were backing their stuff up. It's called The Race War Starts November 3rd. All right? Now, again, there's one more thing here I have written down. I want to give you, Soylent Green. Now, in the movie, again, the Soylent Green, when you look at it and you watch what happens now, what's interesting is the movie took place and was made in 1973. And it was predicting the future of 2022, just 2 years from now. And I said, yeah, that's interesting. And what I noticed that in the movie, the people, many of them were wearing masks, wearing face masks. I said, ain't that a bitch? And I said, now, back then, 73, they looked ahead to 2022 and saw what was going on as far as people eating human beings for sustenance, and people were there walking around in the city with masks. I said, okay, there's something else going on here. So I'm going to go look into that and get the background on what that was going on with that. But other than that, that's all I'm going to share with you today. I'll be back in maybe another week or so, and I'll have some more things for you that you might want to look into having the stockpiling, if you want to call it that, or start to look into maybe putting aside a little bit of extra just for GP, because you never know when a disaster will strike. You never know when some type of calamity may come upon you and your family. And it's a sad, sad thing that you as a man, I'm saying talk to the men, that you have to look at your child and say, we ain't got no food. Huh? They don't understand that. We don't have any food, but I'm hungry. We don't have any food. But Johnny's people got food. Well, we don't have. So that's why when I said, look at that movie there on the shelter, there on Twilight Zone, and it's like I said, it's not prophetic in any way, shape, form, or fashion, but it can show you something that can happen. And what if it did, and where would you be? With that, I want to thank you for taking the time to listen. I will put this here on my YouTube channel, Jerry Speaks. And again, if you can, or if you will, here we go, right here. Bingo. Just give a contribution, my Facebook, my instant Cash App, and my PayPal. I thank you again for listening, taking up the time of your day to hear what I had to say. Hope some of it may not fall on deaf ears. And I want to thank you. Peace and love to all.